Good morning, Shed-ins.
Yo.
How's everyone doing today?
How y'all doing?
So you didn't know, but I had tried to start the stream a few minutes earlier, and the stream freaked out. So it was just better for me to stop it. I'll have to go in and erase like the minute-long thing.
Happy 420, everybody.
Happy 420.
Blaze up. Smoke one for us. Everybody put the blaze. I don't know what's a good emoji. For 420. You gotta think of one. Sup. How y'all doing, IG? How you doing? Sup. Good morning, Avro. What's up, Lady J? What's up, Ruben? Happy 420, man.
Yeah, welcome everyone.
Hi, Melissa.
Welcome, Facebook user.
No, it's not bad lighting. I'm doing this on my phone.
Ooh, that was the wrong button. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm doing this on my phone. So when I back up, it goes dark. I'm just trying to read the light.
Oh, good. Now she can hear.
So if you want to see
I was worried.
Facebook, you type in Disrupt America.
Don't freak me out, Lady J.
Type in Disrupt America on Facebook. Good morning, Rayanne. What's up, Rodney? Heather Brown.
It's a little better.
Oh, we wasn't on?
No, we were on. Totally on.
See your face.
Lady J, if you message me your address, Beantown is ready to
Good morning, Goldie.
mail you out your stuff. Just give me your address. Good morning, Goldie.
Good morning.
Happy 420, everyone.
You, Goldie.
I literally started the show and I didn't have mics plugged in.
Yeah.
Good times. Like, not even physically plugged in.
Anthony.
It's like time to start the show.
Golden Jr.
No microphones
Good
at all.
morning. Say good morning, kids. Well, I turned 21 back in, what was that?
7 years ago?
Yeah, I turned 21 a while ago, my brother. I'm not no kid. You say good morning, adult.
Wait, what do you say? Good morning, kid. Oh, good morning,
Yeah,
kids. He means everyone, all of us collectively, not you and I.
he mean the people
So
in the
Anthony,
chat.
yeah, Anthony's in the Massachusetts cannabis community, so he knows a bunch of people in the chat, and he's saying good morning, kids, to the people in the chat. He's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. You'd be down with him. You already got a compliment on your shirt, your Beantown Greentown shirt.
Beantown, Greentown.
So every Saturday, Andrew Muddy is going to come on and do like a whole thing around
Just
cultivation.
keeps watching.
Yeah, no way. Andrew Muddy from Beantown Greentown is going to come on and do cultivation tips, but
What's up,
Beantown
JT?
Greentown is also going to have their own show on
Hi,
Sundays,
Heather Marie.
which will go to their pages and Disrupt America, which will be pretty cool. Who's giving a shout out? Joey. What's up, Joey?
Thanks
Joe.
for giving Joe Pie's Mind Spread a shout out, guys. I've been spreading the word.
So, first of all, Joey was a contest winner. Second of all, Joey made us music for the show. Like fan music, which is awesome. Yeah, I posted it on the page. It's pretty cool. You don't really go on Facebook other than like this stream right here.
Good morning, Jessica. Said happy 420, y'all. Mwah, mwah. Them was the two kissy faces she gave. Don't feel so special.
Shout out to Calix Berkshire,
There was
who liked the stream. We appreciate it. And Scott, the superfan.
What's up, Bob? Good morning, guys. Happy 420 to you.
So Sharon in the comments is wondering if today is a holiday in Massachusetts. It's really a holiday everywhere.
420.
It's really a holiday everywhere today.
420.
It's 420, which I believe harkens back to Tea Time with the Grateful Dead, or whatever the Grateful Dead
Big
band's
Love,
name
Mike
was
and
before the
Eric.
Grateful Dead. And so 420 is normally the daily signal to like gather and have a little smoke together. And so today being April 20th.
Scotty Too Hottie. What's poppin', my brother?
Yeah, Joey, hit me up in my inbox.
Scott says Patriots Day too, isn't it?
Oh, it's also Patriots Day. It apparently is a holiday in Massachusetts. Who knew?
Only holiday I know is 420. And I
Well,
celebrate that every day.
You were a New England Patriot. So, Patriots Day, at least.
Is that what that means?
No, but it should. People would pay attention to it more. Shout out to Kushroom. Shout out to my tie. Thanks to, I think it was Heather that mentioned my tie. Thank you. It is a nice tie.
Shout out to my dog Kush Room.
This one's a Valentino. Mm-hmm.
Nice screenshot. What up, Chris? How you doing, man? Chris.
Yeah, shout out to Scott the Superfan who shows up every
Dan
day.
the man.
I have to say, Scott the Superfan, we have a few people that help us out with the show, which is awesome. Scott the Superfan shows up every single day, is here for the entire show, and we really appreciate him.
Technically, today would have been Marathon Monday.
She's talking to Scott. Oh, because today would have been the Boston Marathon, except it had gotten canceled because of the coronavirus.
Heather Marie said, "You're welcome, Mike. I got you." Wink. JT.
So Jason was on Chris Almeida's show this morning. If you watched any of...
JT?
Yeah, that was JT. Did you...
Oh, that was him?
Yep,
I
that
was
was
going
him.
to comment, but I was still too sleepy because I was too sleepy.
Mm-hmm. Today's a very sleepy Monday.
Yeah, today was rough getting up. I can
Today-
tell you that.
Today is one of those days where, like, it would have been much better for us to start the show at, like, 4 p.m. than...
It'd been better to call this the good out shut-ins. Or the
Good day
Good.
off shut-ins.
good afternoon shutouts.
Right. Yeah, Jay. So Jay works at a wastewater management place, and he was talking about.
Yeah, I did hear.
He was talking about
that.
He was talking about that. He was talking about shit. Whoa, how about that? Scott the Superfan
Yeah, he always
took that praise. Scott the Superfan does more for you than you and I do for you.
Yeah, wants to train like an elite athlete.
Well, you are a Super Bowl champion, right? You're on the 2015 Patriots.
Yeah, I know, it's just funny. It's a really bad dark image right now. Okay, you guys can start giving me crap about my Instagram live feed. It's on the Android, okay? I understand.
You guys are just be lucky. You're lucky you're having that one. You should just come over to Facebook. I know you're.
I don't understand either. Why you
Yeah, just come over.
continue
We're on
to
like
say-
10 different platforms.
I think they like. that
Shout out to
angle.
Hako.
It's the angle.
And shout out to everyone who's sharing the stream. Shout
That's
out to
the hood
Layden.
angle. It's
Yeah.
like the professional angle, and then that's the hood angle.
And everyone's like,
People
wow, it
like-
looks so much different in
I like
that
the
one."
hood angle better.
Yeah, no, we don't like the. You're just lucky we have like we're on a shoestring budget.
Late
You're
night, I
lucky.
couldn't get up.
You're lucky our Instagram camera prop is a laptop screen. Because otherwise you'd probably have a good angle. But
What up,
you don't.
Darren Miller?
So everyone, we appreciate it when you like the stream, and we appreciate it when you have it in you to share
Heather
it.
Brown said, do you have a pot hangover, Eric, after your visit with Greentown, Beantown? It's Beantown, Greentown. Oh, but yesterday it did have me saying Greentown, Beantown. Let's just say that. As in saying that in casual conversation is a good thing. Ashley Rose, hey. What's up, Derek? How you doing, Derek Quinn? What's up, Robert? Good morning to you. Lane, shout out to you too, brother. What's up, Perry? Happy 420 to you too, man.
So in just a couple minutes, we'll be going to Mark Ward.
Marky Mark.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear me.
We totally can, dude.
Thank you. I think my video is not set up, so hold on one second. I'm trying to fix that.
No, you're looking good. You just don't have ours yet. That's all.
Oh, I see. All right, fantastic.
It's true. It's true. It's good. It's good. Hold on just a second, and I'll bring you up. Eric is laughing because he's like, Mark looks like a white version of me.
You know, I was thinking the same thing, really. There's nothing about bald thing.
Yeah, I was laughing. Right when I looked at you, I said, wow, he kind of looks like me, but white.
All right, let me see if I can fix this real quick.
Oh, Jen says, good morning. Good morning. Hey, I'm already celebrating the day. Don't mind the language error. It's okay, Heather. We understand.
Oh, no wonder I didn't need to resize that. You're just out of the thing. I got to turn this a little bit.
Good morning, Lady J.
So by the way, and Mark, if it's cool, bear with us for just a minute because we totally started a few minutes late today. We're having a wickedly slow morning.
I was doing deliveries until late last night.
Cool. Well, yeah, hold on just a minute because we need to let the folks know about the contest. We had been... Oh. So anyway, for those of you in the audience who have a problem with Eric's Oh, wow, you're being pretty quiet right now. That's amazing. I thought this was going to be like an ASR 420 episode.
Huh?
The ASR things, like the noise. I forget who it was. There was actually somebody overnight that posted on one of your things that was like, please don't hold the mic up to your mouth when you eat, Eric. Like,
Oh, that's Melissa.
yeah, that was Melissa. Like
Yeah,
outside of,
mean.
it wasn't even during the show. It
That's
wasn't
why
even during the
you
show.
know, I just
It
changed
was
her name to
totally.
Mean Melissa. Because every time we
She
get
was
to eating on
trolling. She was
camera,
trolling your thing.
she be trolling.
All right, so we need to do before we go to Mark, we need to start the contest because otherwise it's going to be like 20 minutes from now before we start the contest. And for those of you who don't know, every single day because we're on live every morning, this is show 30. Yeah.
Whoa, Joey.
For those of you that don't know, every single morning
Let's keep some kind of comments to yourself.
every single morning.
We don't want to hear your fetishes.
Oh boy. The chat is quickly devolving, which is fine. We love you guys in the chat. By the way, if you haven't said hello in the chat and you're watching, please say hello or I don't know. Let us know you're here because we appreciate it. So we need to do a contest. What do you think? Who have you seen? By the way, have you seen? Who have you seen in the chat? I feel like our sponsors don't come into the chat early anymore, just in case we see them, and then I'm like, "Yo, we're gonna give away your stuff." So, have you seen Avril or Mary? Or
she said good morning.
She did.
Mary Palmer hasn't said good morning. Who else? Who else was a sponsor? Rodney said good morning.
He's here.
Kevin haven't said good morning. Yeah, Kevin, we definitely gonna have a talk, my brother. Kevin, I ain't seen you in the comments one time in the last like 2 or 3 days. You need to check in.
Lady J, that's dazed and confused. And it's good that you asked me and not Eric, because he would. I don't know if he was born yet. So it is contest time. So it's 420. What do we should have what kind of cool contest can we have for 420? It would have been great to think this out. By the way, any of you that are bugged out by him eating chips, it's actually food is his superpower. What's up, Nick? The intern.
Nate the Great just logged in.
Hey, what's up, Nate? So contest today. So I think we should. Is Rodney there? Rodney wants to disrupt merch. Yeah, that's all on Nick the intern. We're sorry. No, it's actually Nick's waiting for me at this point. I don't.
Maybe I should. Maybe the thing is they gotta pick an animal in the ocean.
They have to.
That I'm thinking of.
All right, so you're thinking of an animal in the ocean.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of ocean animals too. So.
And I hope did you think of something that's like. All right, so before everyone starts, hold on. Before everyone starts peppering the chat with, because for all of you, no matter where you're watching, the way that you win is he'll tell you to put something in the chat, and then you can start putting it in, and that'll be the contest entry. But we need for Superfan Scott to try to be on the lookout for the contest entry.
As much as I love you, my brother, like, and I love you to death, but I don't think I've ever seen an alligator in the ocean.
Ooh, well, I'm glad Mark gave me an updated title, which is good. Ooh, and a sweet-ass picture. Uh-huh.
Come on, Jessica, that's way too basic. A shark? Mac the Great, what's up? Versus a whale, should it be a specific whale? Yes, it has to be a specific whale.
Wait. Oh, if it's a whale. You're not saying it's a whale, though, right?
No.
Well, good. That
just
feels... That just kind of feels...
A celly cramp? What the hell is a celly cramp? Cuttlefish. That was a good one. Robert. Heather.
Wait.
Turtle.
You're going to have to watch the comments the entire time because Scott's not going to be able to go back.
Sea cucumber, stingray. Oh, I already know. Look at...
No, don't say if anyone won yet, because I know it'll comment.
Ain't nobody won.
Okay, we didn't even say what the prize is.
Y'all not even gonna get it because y'all don't even know. I'm telling you, this is a hard one. Y'all gonna be going for a while now.
I like this contest. It's kind of different.
Sea pig, sperm whale. Yes, whoever put sperm whale is just trying to be funny. A sea pig. What is a sea pig? Is that one of them?
Well, no.
Manatees?
No, that's a sea cow.
Oh. Giant squid. That was a good one. Scallop. Purpose. What, Jenny? Come on, Jen. You should know it's a word that I can't spell now. I mean that I can spell, not clam. Nah, that was way too easy, Jessica. Come on, Jessica. You can't. It's good to think outside the box, but not. Ava said, "I'm not even gonna try." Why you not gonna try, Ava? What's wrong? Swordfish. Oh, good one, lady. Octopus. Flounder, seahorse, cucumber. Squid. I'm good guess. Eel, lionfish. I have to admit, the sperm whale was funny. Right? The sperm whale is kind of funny. Like, who thinks of that? You have to have a dirty mind for the first thing to pop up in your head is, hey, what's the animal in the ocean? Guess. Sperm whale. Why would you think of that as your first animal?
So I was just busy trying to make sure that I did Mark justice by making sure I had the right title and also
well,
his
Ava,
cool
you need to
logo.
wake up because we don't like that around here. Orca, that was a good one.
Happy 420, everyone.
Oh, Nate came with the killer comment. A mermaid.
Mark is sitting here. So Mark, just so you know, I was just making sure that I get your setup totally correct. So when we go to you, it's perfect. And Mark is probably watching this right now, being like, "What the hell is going on?" Mark, it's so crazy that this is like the new world of like live engagement is doing segments, but then also like
Coral. JC, that's a good way to think outside the box.
We'll talk after, but it's crazy. Like I'm sure you're sitting here being like, "What the hell is going on right now?"
Lord.
And in the meantime,
I used to go live a lot, and it never went as planned for me. So I'm kind of used to it.
oh, not even the not planned thing, which is, but even just more
Damn,
like
what's
the
Man-O-War? What is that?
the chatter with the audience
Ooh,
thing.
Jen came with the old school, the Megalodon. That was a good one. Okay. Jen came with the old school hitter. Okay. Dan said baby shark.
You are absolutely welcome to do that, and especially because it's 420 today.
Titanic.
All right, so today's prize, because everyone's guessing. We didn't even tell everyone what the prize is yet.
They just want to try to guess it.
Well, because you made a fun contest. Everyone loves it.
Ava, stop, Ava. Just stop. You're not gonna take your business nowhere. You're gonna be right here in the comments with us, hanging out, laughing and giggling.
We appreciate you being here, Ava. I haven't been paying attention to what is going on in the chat. We got to pick the prize. We totally just need to pick the prize. We got to pick the prize. And then we're going to have Mark Ward on. Mark's a journalist.
Oh, Tiger Shark.
And a cannabis edible artisan. And then we're also going to have Darren Miller on later too, but we need to...
A cannabis edible artisan?
We really just need to pick the prize, so this way people can... So, Ava, the contest is that Eric was thinking of a sea creature, and you just have to guess it. And so Eric is going to be apparently watching the comments.
And nobody came even close yet.
Yeah, don't. I know everyone's having fun. I'm sorry, it's 420.
I'll give y'all a hint after we done with Mark, and then that'd be the one
give a hint. That'll be the one hint you're gonna give.
Oh yeah, this hint is pretty solid. It's gonna cut about half the sea creature.
So fortunately, also if you have questions for Mark that don't have to do with sea creatures, or maybe sea creatures also. Eric will be.
That was a good guess because that is my favorite seafood. So just because you guessed that good, I applaud you.
Eric will be watching in the comments not only for questions from Mark, but also for whatever sea creature that you'll be.
The ugliest fish in the sea, the blobfish. Jen, that was a good pick.
It's just only that ugly when it raises up through pressure. It looks like a normal fish when it's way deep. It's such a
And it gets all ugly.
Well, you know what? And let's bring Mark on, and then we'll announce, because Mark's been so patient, and he's listening. He's part of the conversation right now, anyway, so he needs to be with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm bringing to you Mark Ward. He's a journalist and cannabis edible artisan. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate being here.
We appreciate you being here too. Mark, for those of our audience out there, you're a journalist and you're also a cannabis edible artisan. So, sort of just give us quickly your background and let us know where we could, where we might have read your stuff, and then also tell us about this cannabis edible artisan stuff.
Basically, I've had my stuff published in SKUNK magazine, Dope magazine, 1000 Watts, RelLeaf, Greenleaf, RelLeaf Canada, RelLeaf USA, Dabbing Dad blog. I've pretty much been all over the country, really.
Okay, and do you have a series? You have a series that runs, I think.
Correct. And every publication, I usually maintain the same series. It's called the Legal Weed series. I pretty much deal with any topic from current laws in cannabis legislature to medical cannabis. I love writing medical cannabis stories. To my fun stories of cannabis events. I've done cannabis barbecues, cannabis cheese fondue parties, things of that sort. So I try to write a little bit of everything, really. I try not to really limit myself.
And Mark, we noticed that you were dabbing this morning. Let us know what are you smoking? What do you got?
Well, actually, right now I'm lighting up a Twax joint. It has dabs of Fool's Gold mix, actually.
Very nice.
It's a sugar, really, so it's very high concentrate.
Okay.
Very terpy stuff. And what I did is I melted a bunch on the outside of a joint. I like rolling these big old cones here. And
you said it's sugar?
Yeah, sugar. So basically what I did is I put it in a little dab spoon, right? And I melted it down and covered my joint with it. And then after it was covered, I warmed up the oil yet again and then rolled it in really, really fine keef. So this is, fantastic. I'm actually repping Honeycomb right now. A lot of it's Honeycomb Farms. I also have Terpene House Collective or Collaborative and Duck Diamonds all in this product. So, I'll be lighting this bad boy up.
Eric definitely needs a legal cannabis sponsor. Here in Massachusetts, we're still getting to that point. Where are you at?
That legal cannabis sponsor, they might get a tattoo.
I feel you. Actually, my stuff comes from mostly Massachusetts and Maine. I have basically, it's a collaborative. So what happens is there's different segments of a larger group from Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, more so Maine and Rhode Island, I believe. Terpene House Collaborative is in Rhode Island, and Honeycomb Farms and Duck Diamonds, I believe, is mostly out of Maine.
Okay.
And they're very closely related. They share strains, techniques, all of that stuff. It's just different growers.
Huh. Okay. We've got some grower friends up in Maine that we appreciate too when we get up there. Maine's got a good scene going.
Green gold.
Yeah, I think Maine has such a great scene because nobody messed with them. You know what I mean? They're out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody messed with them, so they had really time to hone in on their craft. Because you're in the middle of the woods. What are you going to do? So I think they really did well up in they do well up in Maine, and the legislature there is beautiful compared to especially Rhode Island. Really small, mom and pop shops are opening up everywhere for the medical industry in Maine.
Yep.
That's not happening, in Rhode Island or Massachusetts at all,
So as a journal, it's interesting because I know a few journalists, and as a journalist, and I guess specifically as somebody who writes about cannabis, how has your work been affected by the virus? Is stuff picking up for you? Is it slowing down? Is it the same?
To be honest, things have slowed down a little bit. I took a little bit of a hiatus anyhow for a little while to really work on my edible artisan treats company.
Okay.
I'm trying to really perfect a menu, and the right milligrams for people who I think really enjoy my treats for recreation and medicinal use.
Well,
So I just think,
so tell us a little bit about that, because I've
yeah,
seen some of your pictures and they look delicious.
well, I mean, I do everything from like caramel turtles. What we do is we roast mixed nuts, melt our sea salt caramels right over those. We won awards for our sea salt caramels in the New Hampshire Cannabis Freedom Festival. So basically, we do everything from sea salt caramels, turtles, lollipops, gummies, baklava. My missus makes a killer baklava that we do for special occasions. So we really try to push the envelope of your traditional brownies, cookies,
You
things of
do
that.
oatmeal cookies?
I do, but the thing about cookies is I try to make sure those are for events because I don't like to put anything out that's not fresh. For cookies
Right.
and foods, you know what I mean? Like baklava, I won't even I won't really do ahead of time. I'll have it still in my pan by the time I get to an event because like things like baklava, you have to eat it that day, the next day to get that real effect of that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
nobody likes stale
I
cookies.
love baklava. I'm a big fan.
Baklava's a favorite. So yeah, that's basically where I put a lot of attention for the past few months. Before that, I was writing mostly medical stories, a few event stories as well.
Yep.
Now, I went to an event actually. Let me see, the month before last, and it was the interpretasting. I'm sure you've heard of Bobby Nuggs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he throws a great event.
Yeah, another cannabis journalist. He's been doing it for a long time. He's actually was one of my inspirations. He was doing it before me, so I got to give him the props. Him, Danny Danko, those type of
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got one question. It's
Yeah.
quarantine. How is your beard staying so lined up, so fresh?
Really, I've been shaved. I'm half Puerto Rican,
Oh,
and
okay.
I've had a beard since I was like 7.
Yeah, I'm kind
So,
of jealous. Every time you
so
turn to the side, it look better than mine.
So
you know, um,
do we tell people about your beard secret, Eric?
Nah, I ain't not until my beard grow. Cause if it don't grow, then it ain't work. So
So yeah, Mark, Eric has been trying out like a very strange beard growing thing.
regiments.
And
it is
I guess he
working.
doesn't want to talk about it yet because
Uh-uh.
he wants to make sure it works before he's willing to like embarrass himself a little bit about it.
Exactly, cause you ain't gonna believe it, but hey,
Yeah, and Mark, I'll make sure at some point when offline I'll tell you what it is so that you know because it's very strange, but
it was
it seems
different
to be
when it's in
working.
your genetics versus when you gotta like force your hair to grow.
Oh yeah, my whole family on that side, because I'm half Irish too, and that's not the Irish. Trust me, the Irish side not so much.
Bro, if I showed you a picture of my dad and my grandpa, neither one of them have a beard. Like, just all my cousins on my dad's side all have. I'm the only person with a beard.
I think it is strongly in genetic. I mean, I know my dad had a really thick beard where I can remember of him, and it's something that when I was like 10 years old, 11 years old, my grandmother used to walk up to my face and try to clean my face, and it ended up being stubble. You know what I mean? So it's something I've always had.
So Mark, I'm intensely still curious about the stuff you make. So I know you make So is it mostly sweets or do you have other foods that you work on?
I love making candies. I'm kind of candy obsessed. I'm not gonna lie. I shouldn't be because I'm probably like borderline diabetic. But I really love candies. Thing is, baking is more of a science. My girl does the baking because I don't have the patience for it.
Yep.
Like baklava and things, like the layered cakes that she does. They take a science that's math, and you can't mess up baking. If you mess up on a temperature, an ingredient, or even a sequence of how things done, it's just totally different. Candies, I find there's a little bit of give to some. I mean, it has its own set complex differences, but I mean, I really have fun with it. I was obsessed with like gummies as a kid. I loved getting those shark gummies when I was a kid going to school. You remember those?
Yep.
Shit, the little dollar junk.
Yeah, exactly. The little white sharks in them. When the white sharks came in, we were all soup because we were like, "Oh, great white, that's awesome." It didn't taste any better or anything like that. That was, it was probably the worst tasting. But we didn't care because it was great white shark. So, I mean, candies were really my thing for a while. And the thing is, I feel like if you're already treating yourself, you know what I mean? Some people use it as medicinal properties. Why can't medicine be a treat too? It doesn't always have to be bad, you know? So that's kind of why I went into that. But I also have done different things like I had a cannabis barbecue. It was a 90s themed cannabis barbecue. So basically we had TVs going, you know, with different, you know, 90s TV shows and movies and things like that. We had
Mm-hmm.
everything 90s colors, you know, it was pretty decent. And things like the sauces and the barbecue sauces, and the, you know, the drinks were infused.
Hmm.
So really I like to do a little bit of everything, but I would say candies and things like that are my passion. So,
Yeah.
Somebody said 420 gushers.
try to do gushers. They're not exactly too simple. Again, you know, thing about gummies is my gummies, I don't use like crazy, like preservatives. So that's another thing with my stuff. Like I count it as artisan treats because of the time that's put in. It's small batch. We don't do crazy huge batches where we can't, you know, quality control. Um, I use concentrates instead of using like trim and bud. You know what I mean? So, and another thing about it is we don't use the crazy preservatives. You know, you have candies out there where uh, they last forever. Foods out there that last forever. I mean, you remember you know how Twinkies, you know, they last forever. McDonald's hamburgers, they last forever. This stuff's not made to do that. We're supposed to be able to digest that and convert it.
Well, and so
You
so
know,
does that. So do you find yourself veering away from edibles that might not have too long of a shelf life?
that's why I keep small batch. For one, that's it's basically it's quality control
Made to
and
order.
it's product control. So here's the thing: gummies, if you don't have a certain method, they will mold very quickly.
Absolutely. Yep.
You know, your traditional gummies. And people, I've had one, you know, somebody come back and they're like, my gummies molded. I was like, well, how long did you have them? A few weeks. You know,
Right.
how long? When you put out bread, that what happens eventually? When you put out, you know, fruit, what happens eventually? It's going to mold and go bad. The reason why is because it's meant to. You know, you don't want to process something that's supposed to last forever. You know, it's not healthy for you.
Well,
So
well,
even though I'm doing candies and things like that, I try not to add anything past like citric acid.
yep. Well, and I mean, for people who are health conscious, which really should be most of us, sort of like the cleaner the food that you eat, the better, right? And so that's the
You're gonna
trade-off
have
is
exactly if you're gonna have a treat, which is a treat. You know, there's gonna be sugar or salts or fats in it. At least have it be real. Be able to pronounce the things that you eat in your food is a good idea. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
it has 6 syllables, and you're not even sure how like a three sequence letters are pronounced. You probably don't want to eat it. You know,
right.
it's not a good idea. So that's one thing that we really try to maintain, even though it's candy and it's a treat. But we will, you know, we will do things for you know people we do know have medical issues. You know, um,
Okay.
there was somebody that you know was loving the idea of our treats, but when I'm trying to do a sugar-free treat, it never tasted right or conveyed what I really wanted to make. So I've given them, you know, different things like uh, seasoned olive oils. You know, we did a truffle oil the other day that was fantastic. You know, we went to what is it, Federal Hill in
Hmm.
Providence. I'm not sure if you've been there.
Yes.
It's very highly Italian
Yep.
foods. Let's put it that way. But yeah, basically, there's fantastic eateries and like delicatessens. So we went up there, and I got shaved truffle, shaved black truffle, and I infused truffle oil with olive oil with truffle and THC. So that's, I mean, it's really something where my main, like I said, my main thing is candies and treats, but I love doing anything. I really like incorporate and learning how to because everything's different when you incorporate THC. Because the thing I try to explain to people is when you add THC to a treat, you have to do it at a very important time because THC you have to convert it, right? It's
Hmm.
like when you smoke weed and you dab. If you eat a bud of weed, it's not gonna make you stoned. You're not gonna get an effect because it's not decarboxylated. It's not turned over to THC. It's still THCA. Same thing
Hmm.
with dabs, right?
Right.
So you're gonna maintain a proper level with that when you're cooking with it too. So like with candies like lollipops, right? You
Yep.
heat those up to like 300 degrees,
Right.
lollipops.
Right.
You put THC in there, it's going to die at that point. So you got to wait till it comes back down to a certain point and then add it so it doesn't degrade. You know.
Yeah, so I was going to ask about that because it's not even the temperature, but it's also the length of time too, right? And so sometimes I mean, just me thinking it through previously to this conversation, like I imagine that it's a struggle sometimes for a chef to figure out like how to properly decarboxylate what they're putting into an edible when that edible might only require a short amount of time of heat or cooking or a longer time, right? Which can
That's
really screw
another
it up.
reason why. Yeah, exactly. That's another reason why I enjoy candies, is
Yep.
because you don't have to cook candies usually for as long. Baking takes minutes at least.
So if you're and I've seen gummies and candies being made before and folks heating it up on the stove to a certain temperature and getting it to a certain consistency. Um,
Very quick process.
yeah, so considering how quick that process is, and this is just me thinking out loud, but like, doesn't that mean that sometimes the distillate or anything that you'd be putting in that it hasn't been decarboxylated yet, that are you like losing some of that potency of some of that THC?
Here's the thing. Well, for one thing, let me check one remark just to make sure I don't get off track. Distillate doesn't have to be decarboxylated. Distillate actually is already decarboxylated because the process that it's made, it's heated and evaporated. So usually distillate's already activated THC, as far as my knowledge. I may be incorrect, but I believe that's the one thing that you can add to treats that you don't have to decarboxylate. It's already at 90% pretty much, depending on your distillate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I use full spectrum shatter. So full spectrum shatter is lower THC than distillate. It's not almost 100% THC, right?
Mm-hmm.
But depending on the type of shatter, it has a certain 60 to 80 range
Okay.
THC. So I take that into consideration, right? Then you take your decarboxylation time into consideration. So let's just say, it's going to heat up for a little while. You don't totally decarboxylate that batch, of your oil, and you try to compensate just a little bit because you're going to heat that up after. You know what I mean? And that's again why I don't like baking as much because, like I said, the candies are like that. It's hot, but it's a quick process. That's another reason why it's pain in the ass. Candies, I love it. It's like lollipops. I pour them by hand. It's not like I
Mm-hmm.
put them in a machine. I pour them by hand, and that's 300 degrees at some point. You ever have 300-degree hot sugar on your skin? You have to be very quick and very, very agile with it.
Well, and it all cools quickly, right? So if you're trying to pour a bunch of lollipops, it's cooling while you're pouring it, so it can be kind of precarious, right?
Exactly. It's something that, like, I think, because I'm a person who I've always had like anxiety and stress. Making candies like that, I think alleviates that because you don't have time to think about anything else. Because you're going to either burn yourself or mess up your batch. You know what I mean? So now with what I use full spec. I mean, I've used stuff like this. I mean, this is what I dab is what I put in my products. Whatever I can find that's the best quality from who the small companies that I get from, I use in my edibles. Some people use, you know, their distillate, but distillate doesn't have terpenes. It's high THC, yes, right? But that's all you're getting because it's so high, it's so isolated. All you're getting is THC, right? So I like to get some terpenes in there as well because that's part of the medicinal effect is those terpenes. They call it the entourage effect. It works. The aromas and the flavors of cannabis,
Mm-hmm.
terpenes, work with THC to give you a specific effect. That's why this flavor gives you this feeling, and that flavor gives you that feeling. It's more than just indica and sativa; it's also the terpenes involved. With
So
which,
is it also, or is it more that like it isn't so much indica versus sativa? It's just that the terpenes that are present in those specific like
for the most part, I think that's why people got the basic rule of thumb: indica versus sativa, is because most terpenes are probably found in one side than the other side. I mean, that would make sense, you know.
yep.
But I think there are substitutes to the rule because I've had some sativas that
Okay.
have actually helped me with my anxiety. You know, I've had some indicas where my mind and body raced. I had to take a walk. You know, and it's really personalized. I think for anything that you put in your body, for one thing, is personalized. But I do think it's more terpene involved than it really is just straight indica sativa. I think terpenes are. We've been using aromatherapy for forever.
Right.
Aromatherapy has been a very old. We've been using spices, aromas, and it's something where I think now people are actually taking it seriously. You know what I mean? Before you used to go to Bed Bath and Beyond, right? And you'd see like a diffuser. You're like, why does some yuppie get that? Does that really do anything for you except for make your house smell good? I can bake some cookies and that'll work, right? So, but now we really take that into consideration. You know, limonene, like terpene found in stuff that wakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
We've been using lemons to wake people up from fainting for ages, lemons and vinegar, right? But now people are actually taking it seriously as a science, you know. Pinene, right? I believe it's pinene, where you ever walk into a pine forest and all of a sudden, if you don't have asthma or allergies, you can breathe, right? Some people, even with allergies or asthma, they can breathe better in a pine forest. Reason being is pinene is a bronchodilator, right? So it opens up your passages so you can absorb oxygen, right? So we're finding out that these different things have all these different properties, and I try to apply that into my food as well. So
That's right.
I just learned something new today.
I try to keep up on. I'm a student. I'm not a teacher, but the best way you can learn is to teach, right? That's what they say. The best way to learn is to teach. And I'm a journalist, so I try to keep up on things as much as possible.
Is Gordon Ramsay your favorite chef?
No, I like him, but that's one reason why I don't work in the regular cooking industry, is because people are way too stressed out. I've worked as a cook in a restaurant, you know, many times. I've done everything from like line to, you know, fast food, you know. I couldn't handle it because of not just the rush. People don't know how to use that energy and the necessity of being quick positively. They do it in a very angry way, and that's not a place to spend your time, right? So that's why I have my own kitchen.
Dang.
Um, so, Mark, is it possible for me to put you on the spot for today's contest? And I'll tell you how it works, and you can totally say no, by the way. So, we actually regularly give away infused items on the show, both CBD and THC. And the way that it works is that it's just gifted,
You
right?
missed everything.
I love that.
And so, if you were to, let's say, offer up something from from your amazing side business here outside of being a journalist, basically what would happen is whoever won today, they would contact you. They just contact you directly, and if for some reason you had an issue with that, you can just let us know, and then we can help
We could definitely work that out. Yeah, I can actually set up something. What do you usually give away for your giveaways? Let's give me a general idea.
Well, sometimes we give away infused jam, which was a contest winner at the Harvest Cup this last year.
They said they want turtles.
Yeah,
everybody wants turtles.
Everyone wants turtles, right?
Caramel turtles sound fire.
So, by the way, he normally hates chocolate. Like, he's not a chocolate fan, but like turtles, because it's mostly even when you first mentioned turtles in the show, he was like, he's like,
the photos of my turtles.
I've seen them. Yes,
we have some good shots of those. Basically, here's the thing. To be honest, I'm not huge into the chocolate. I was more like I said, gummies fan. You know, I loved, the fruity candies and things like that. Mike and Ike's, Sour Patch Kids, sour watermelons. I went nuts over. I mean, I think I have a photo. We were at like a Jerry's or I don't know, some shopping facility, and there was a pit of gummies. It was just Sour Patch Kids, the watermelon ones. And I have a picture of myself just in glee over it because I found my heaven. So, but yeah, it's chocolate is something that if it's not good chocolate, it can be really take away from it. You know what I mean?
The turtles is the thing in the comments right now. Everybody's saying they want the turtles.
Yeah. So here's the thing. These chocolates, I only use very very like high grade chocolate. I don't use. You've had like Easter bunnies, you know what I mean? Not that waxy. Like I think that's why a lot of people don't really appreciate it because they don't know there's a difference between chocolate and like chocolate flavored candy.
Yep.
I always said I didn't like white chocolate, right? I was one of those guys. I don't like white chocolate. That stuff tastes like chalk. I don't like it. It tastes like wax. It tastes like a candy. And then I tried real white chocolate, like real by definition white chocolate, and it was amazing. And I make all my bars out of like mostly white chocolate now. We do cookies and cream bars.
That's my type
We
of.
do blueberries and cream bars. We do peaches and cream bars, and that's all with a white chocolate base. And I love those things, you know.
Yeah, he's totally down with the.
Yeah, white chocolate. I'm a fan of dark chocolate. Anything once it get darker and darker, I fades away.
That's an acquired thing. That's definitely acquired
Yeah.
thing. It's bitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once it's like a more, higher percent cocoa, it starts getting a little wacky, and you have to have a certain type of taste for that percent cocoa.
You gotta be a woman.
When I was younger, I couldn't eat it all. It tasted like
Women love chocolate.
yeah, it tasted like salt. You know, it tasted like very minerally to me. But once I get older and have a little more like refined palate, I can do certain percent dark chocolate. But after a certain I can't do it. I can't do it very much.
So then, Mark, is it cool? I mean, are the turtles cool to give away, or is there something else that you think is better?
I know. I think I'm gonna actually make a little basket.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone out there, if you've ever been somebody who buys edibles, when he's talking about a little basket, you understand how quickly the stuff adds up. So if you don't remember what the contest is today, today's contest is that Eric thought of a sea animal.
And nobody still ain't got
nobody's
it.
answered it yet. So if you
I've
just
been looking at the comments. I've been
if you
paying
just-
attention.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little basket. You can come pick, grab it, or I can, either which way, But we'll make sure it's in your possession
okay.
and give it to whoever wins your contest. How about that?
Well,
It has to go through taxes first, so
and Mark, when he says it has to go through taxes, it's the Eric tax. So
it's called the chocolate tax.
So Eric likes to, he insists on taking out a little percentage, getting his hands in
I
the
can't-
prizes.
If
I
you win
can't
something
give
free, you
guys
gotta
a
understand
basket
it
to
ain't.
Get to somebody and be like, "Here you go." You know what I mean? That's
I always say if you
you
win
know?
something free, it ain't free. It's never free.
Mark, they're gonna get your basket, and there'll be like one chocolate inside of it. They're like this giant basket for a little tiny
It's a
chocolate.
sample. It's a sample.
That's gonna be great. And I know everyone out there is super excited. Everyone's peppering the comments. So we also had for the Edible Artesian Company. Is Instagram your preferred choice of platform to be contacted on, or Facebook, or where do you like to?
Instagram and Facebook. Right now, we only have people, representatives, gifting in RI in Massachusetts.
Yep.
And as long as you're from those two areas, hit us up on either Instagram or Facebook.
Awesome. And we actually have your the URLs for those pinned to the top of the comments, so this way anyone who's watching us anywhere, you can see that. And definitely go and follow Mark on Instagram and Facebook and show him some love. And his pictures are amazing. I've been seeing them for a while. I actually there was a part of me, Mark, the other day we did our first live cooking segment.
Yes.
And it came off like pretty much really good. Like the only hiccups were me. The only little hiccup was me, and I sort of ironed it out. And so I was so excited. I don't know why. I was just so excited to have done that cooking segment and for it to have come off well. And I got to say, I was of course I just wanted you to come on and do whatever, but secretly I was kind of oh, I hope he's going to cook something. And it's because I've seen all of your pictures and they look so good, and I was like, man, when Mark does something, it's going to rock.
Someday we'll set it up. That takes a little bit more thought in advance, of course. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Some things I do are trade secret. Of course, like
Yes.
the Mrs. Baklava. She won't even tell me how it's made.
Wow.
So I'd have to figure out what we're going to be cooking.
You would love baklava. You've tried it before, Eric, and you loved it. Because there's no chocolate in it. It's like honey and honey and nuts and pastry, and I forget the spice that's in it. But
So from what I know, this is all I know because, like I said, she really won't tell me the recipe. She went through all the really old school recipes. For
Okay.
Days. I mean, I saw her reading with her glasses at night and everything, trying to find the right recipes for these sauces, right? And there's certain methods you have to make. How many layers traditional baklava has, you know what I mean? It's really I didn't know it, but baklava is like an art form. I appreciate it. I actually asked her to look into it because I'm from Lowell, Massachusetts. All right. Lowell, Massachusetts has a lot of restaurants. Like we had a lot of like sub places and pizza places. And
Yep.
a lot of them were like Greek owned, right? Broadway Street, Broadway Pizza, Greek family. They had this big plastic case of baklava, right? And like the people who took it seriously would like kind of like battle over who had the best baklava. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love getting like my slice of pizza and a piece of baklava after. And it was really, you could tell the love that was put into it sometime because it takes forever. Because what it is, it's phyllo dough, which is very thin layers of pastry dough, right? It's like paper but thinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every layer is buttered. So you take a piece of dough, lay it out, then you butter the layer. Piece of dough, lay it out, butter the layer. Piece of dough, and then you do another layer of chopped nuts and spices, cinnamon, clove, or, whatever the spices are.
Yep.
And then you do it again. Layer of dough, layer of dough, layer of dough, butter, 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 butter. That's why I don't have the patience for it. I'm like, did I do 10,000 layers yet? I don't know. I lost count, right? So you bake it and you wait till it's perfectly golden brown. So you have to watch that because it's thin layers. So it's going to, it's very, very tricky. And as soon as it's perfectly browns, right, you take it out. Oh, I forgot to mention, you cut it before it's baked because otherwise it'll be a mess. Because if you try to cut that thing when it's baked, it's flaky. It's going to go everywhere, right? So yeah, it's a mess. It'll be a tasty mess. I'm eating a bunch of baklava in a bowl, but it's a mess. So before it's cut, while it's still wet dough, you cut it in beautiful slices, right? There's a certain like pattern to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you put it in the oven. Now, when that comes out of the oven, it has like these crispy layers, right? And then like these little caverns where you cut these little. I mean, if you probably used a micro, camera, it'll look like a golden Grand Canyon, right? You fill that up with the honey sauce, with all the spice, whatever, and it just sinks into those cracks, soaks into it, right? It's the most beautiful thing as far as like the smells and like you can smell the buttery crust when you walk in the house. It's amazing. And she found, like I said, the most beautiful recipe I've ever had. It's fantastic. What we did is we have a trick with the sauce. We used, you've had baklava, right? Baklava is fantastic, but sometimes it's too sweet, right?
Yep.
You eat that piece and you get halfway through and you want to finish it, but you're like twitching because it's so sweet, We use a different type of honey. It's called red bamboo honey, right?
Mm.
Or it's red bamboo is also Japanese knotweed.
Okay.
It's much darker than your traditional honeys. Usually honeys you get in the store, if it's real honey at all, which usually it's not, it's like corn syrups and mixed in, it's a honey product. Most honeys are a very light amber color. This almost looks like Coca-Cola, so dark, right? But it's not as sweet. It's a very rich flavor, bold flavor, but it's not as puckery as most honeys. So we use that for the sauce. So I can eat like 3 pieces of baklava now.
Sorry, we're laughing at the comments coming in as you're talking. Everybody's drooling over.
I'd love to be on that side of things. I can't see them from where I am, and I can hear the tings, and each time it's tinging, I'm like, and I'm trying to pay attention to what I'm saying. But I'm wondering what they're thinking right now.
No, and by the way, the tings are just shares and likes. We probably get somewhere around 700 to 800 comments per show.
Today's gonna be a little bit more.
Yeah, today's super heavy.
For some reason, today's contest I picked is really sitting well with everybody.
And once you offered the basket as today's prize, now people turtles just went like feverish in the comments.
It's a good day.
We actually had one person that just apparently joined in the middle of this and was like, why is everyone why is everyone just commenting sea creatures? What's going on?
That's a good idea for your contest, to be honest. That's
how you just jumped in an ocean full of comments.
I mean, how many sea creatures there are, really? You picked a really good topic for that.
I know, right? And it's crazy because people are literally saying everything but the one that I got in my mind. Yeah, and I knew it because it's a good sea creature. Well, I'm gonna give everybody the hint since we're out, and I can let you listen too, so you might. Right.
Can I put a hint?
Yeah, you could win your own prize. No, actually, Mark, if for some reason you do win, we'll make sure that you have an awesome prize from another sponsor. We'll make up a big.
You know Old Greg?
No.
No? All right, look that up later on. Old Greg. All right?
Okay.
That's what that's what I'm gonna put as my sea creature. All right.
Okay.
So the hint is that this sea creature is one of the pound for pound, well, has one of the pound for pound most powerful punches in the ocean.
Oh,
Ooh.
see,
Ooh.
I didn't know there was I didn't know there was like a tip.
Yeah,
It's
the only tip today, and he had told everyone that like once we were like after we had talked with you for a bit that he would then give the hint, so everyone was.
Well, Old Greg's not going to work there. I mean, it was a fantastic answer just for a random answer, but no, it won't work there. I'll have to think about that.
They might get it.
Well, you can definitely, because we're going to be running for a little while longer, and he won't announce it until the end anyway. We might.
Oh, you got it.
Shh! Don't say that somebody got it. Don't say that. No, he didn't get it. He didn't know. He didn't get it. Nobody got it.
Yeah,
he didn't get it. He didn't get it. That wasn't right. No, that was the wrong one. That was the wrong one. Jeez.
I love it.
I can't wait to figure out what this is.
Mark Ward, we so appreciate you spending some time with us today. I honestly, like, I'm sad. This is definitely one of those contests that I'm sad that the prize is going. Like, this is when I actually agree with his idea of the tax thing. And honestly, you were describing it, and like, we're so hungry. He's not, because he's been eating chips all morning.
Chips and stuff, yeah.
But we totally appreciate you coming on, everyone. If you're gonna win, you got to make sure that you also follow Mark on Instagram. So everyone,
Mark
click on that
Instagram.
link. His stuff's amazing. And Mark, we really appreciate you being on the show, and we can't wait to have you back on again soon. Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Right,
Happy 420.
Happy 420, guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was awesome. Thanks to Mark for chilling out with us for a little bit. Up next, we have Darren Miller.
Oh yeah.
Wait. So did you out? You got to remember you can't do that, because then everyone's like, oh, and then they stop commenting. We need them to comment the whole show. Maybe we need a second contest.
Well, they figured it out, because it's not hard to figure it out once you figure out.
Well, once you were like, you got it.
Well, no, the hint that I gave him was pretty.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
distinct.
You're saying somebody would have gotten it once the hint came out.
Yeah, like I was trying to make the hint a little harder, but it was really nothing else I can say to make the hint like harder besides that it has one of the most powerful punches in the underwater. I mean, what more could you get? But it did get people thinking. It got people to open up and look up stuff. So
that's cool.
To all the people out there who figured it out, make sure you go like my man's.
Yeah, Mark Ward. I think it's called Eat Artesian.
No. Hey, Christelle, that's good.
And by the way, it's a basket full of like awesome edibles. I'm so jealous about it. I want to know how people are posting little pictures in the thing. I didn't know how to do that.
Like the GIFs?
Yeah. Maybe they must be on computers or something instead of phones. I don't think phones can do that. That's cool. I want to post pictures and comments.
Dan, it's the only fact about that creature.
Trish, we're glad that you get to watch this too. We're glad that you're joining us. We appreciate it. And by the way, for our friends that share this show, don't share more than like a few times, because we don't want to get you in trouble for sharing stuff. Yeah, look now, everyone's posting big old pictures. I like that one, Dan. That one's pretty cool.
Well, everybody want to know what the answer was. Okay, everybody, I'll tell the answer. And the answer is the mantis shrimp.
Whoa. Oh, that's pretty good.
The mantis shrimp.
So do you think that somebody just Googled your hint and then it came up as saying the mantis shrimp?
That's definitely what happened. Because everybody knows the mantis shrimp has the most powerful punch underwater. Supposedly, they can break glass. They can knock you out.
Can somebody tell me in the comments, are you able to post those larger pictures on your phone, or is it just computer?
Congratulations. We will have the winner announced later.
I'm surprised that, by the way, so I would think out of anyone today that Melissa Amy wouldn't have won the contest, since you sort of could have just picked whoever you wanted when it really comes down to it, right? Sort of.
Yeah.
I guess you were looking.
I didn't tell her she won. I didn't say she won.
Oh, you didn't?
Well, congratulations, Melissa Amy.
Well, she was the first one that said it, right? I'm sorry. No, because she would have been.
She was the first one to say it. No, I think she did know she was the first one to say it. But yes, Melissa Amy was the first to say the mantis shrimp.
Well, and the reason why I say that is because she trolled your things today about eating. She wasn't appreciating that. We're about to bring Darren Miller on.
What's up, Darren?
He's not on yet. I haven't let him in, but I am now.
She just logged in.
I am now.
Jen said penis breath. Oh wow. That hurt my feelings. Like bad.
Hello.
Hey Darren, hold on one sec for us. I'm gonna get your.
Christelle said I'd like to file another complaint. See you 30 to 27 to 30 business days. Oh, Jen was the first?
Oh, she was?
Jen for real? Oh, I'm sorry, Jen.
So sorry. So Jen's gonna win then. I don't know. Jen says she was first.
Oh, Melissa said, can we double check?
If you guys, jeez, Darren, I'm gonna pull you into this drama. I'm gonna pull you into this drama that we're having right now. So Darren Miller, thank you for joining the show. We so appreciate you joining us. We're both so excited for you to be here with us today.
What's up, Darren?
How you doing, Eric? Can you guys hear me?
We can, loud and clear.
Good morning, Eric. We got to quit meeting like this. Like the third or fourth time we've sat on video and chatted. It's awesome.
Darren, we were just every day we give away something free on the show, and today happened to be a big old basket of really awesome edibles, and so people in the comments have been kind of going crazy about it. But we're so happy for you to join us today. Happy 420.
Thank you, guys. I also guessed on what he said. I thought it was the Kraken.
I saw your guess, actually. I saw your guess.
That's a good one.
I got to give away, too, before we get off the air. I'm going to give away one of my cancer killing T-shirts. It's right here.
Ooh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And wait, are we able to give? Are we giving that away to somebody here in our audience?
Whenever you want to, you can pick somebody, and it's available. I'll make sure you give me the address, and I will mail it to them. But it's this is an extra large.
Yeah, and the people who know want this T-shirt. I'm a T-shirt person too. So let's quickly. First of all, we're gonna give away one of Darren's T-shirts. So if you want one of Darren's T-shirts, Darren, where do you like people to follow you the most? Is it Facebook or is there Instagram or which one?
Well, I know Eric likes his Instagram, but I like Facebook. I like to stay on one platform because there you can message people privately. Because when we're online, we are basically working because we run a nonprofit that helps people get this cannabis oil for their cancer. So a lot of people don't live in legal places. So the best way to get a hold of us is right through the Facebook, right in the Messenger. And we wake up in the morning sometimes and have 800,000 messages in our phones from people. I'm serious. It's just that many asking about this medicine and how to take it, what to do. They got cancer. My mom, my brother. Can you help my little sister? And it's sad. There's a lot of sick people in the world.
we're gonna make sure that Scott the Superfan posts and pins your Facebook profile up here so that people can go. Our fans, watchers, can all go there and follow you. Make sure you follow Darren because Darren does some amazing stuff. So Darren, I had like a bunch of titles up here for you on the screen. So we have Senior Cancer Consultant, we have Green Angels, we have Tyson's Holistic Holdings, and we have Tyson's Ranch. And then also you're an author of a book called Terminal to Homeostasis, The Miracle of Terminal Patient... Reaching Homeostasis with FECO.
Yes. It's a lot there, isn't it? Homeostasis. That's when your body is in its physical state and perfectly for the time that you're in. Say, if you move to Canada, it's cold and your body is all shivering. You're there a month. You acclimate. You actually get homeostasis to where you're living, and that's what cannabis does to your body. It brings your body to homeostasis and regulates all the systems of your body. And when you're eating the cancer grease,
yep,
it's really doing some other things to your body. It's actually killing cells that shouldn't be there, tumor cells.
Well, and so Darren, there's probably some folks that are watching that don't necessarily know your story. So just before you give us like sort of your summary of that, because I know you could probably go on for hours about it. We just want to pick the way that folks can win your T-shirt. So Eric, you did such a great job today do you got another one? If people want to win Darren's T-shirt, what should they do?
What, today?
Yeah, right now. We're doing second contest. It's 420, so what do you think? Or Darren, do you
land animals?
You want to do land animals? You're thinking of one? You're thinking of land animals? It's a very animalistic 420.
I think of really weird stuff, so you got this one.
What you want to think of then?
Do you got one, Darren? Do you have a weird one?
Well, it would be this. It would have something to do with an animal, probably about the gender or something crazy. It would be stupid.
All right, so
pronouns with these animals nowadays, you get in trouble. You know that.
So folks, Darren's Facebook profile is now up there and pinned. So make sure you go and you follow him. And then if you guess a land animal, if you guess the one that Eric is thinking of, then you're gonna win Darren's T-shirt and he'll mail it out to you.
Y'all see, the first one I had was hard. Best believe this one is just as hard.
Somebody's gonna Google it as soon as you say it, my brother. You know that.
So, Darren, why don't for folks that don't know your background, why don't you give us your amazing story?
Thank you. You mentioned my bio earlier. We are former cancer consultants for Tyson's Ranch out in LA. Our contract went out of time with them, so now we are just on their board with their holistic holdings company of stockholders. It was gifted to us when we got there, which was an incredible gift from Mr. Tyson himself. And then besides that, we're now working with the Talking Dead, and we're in a cartoon magazine. They made me a superhero in their magazine. And, Eric knows a little bit about this crew. They're a hell of a bunch of guys, but that's really taken off real big right now. And of course, the AMC movie people are fighting them to put the book out. They're still doing it, so it's kind of cool. My journey is, I can give you a quick spiel so we don't spend all night on my journey. I woke up in my bed 5 years ago and I gained 8 pounds in my sleep. How do you do that? Well, I couldn't breathe. I was passing out. My wife took me to the ER and my chest was swollen. They did an ultrasound. I was there 10 minutes, really good ER care. We walk in, your blood pressure's high. They're going to regulate your heart immediately to see if you're having a heart attack. So they told me that my blood pressure was real low and I was passing out. So they could see fluid in my chest. They stuck it's called a pericardial centesis. That's the surgery. They stuck a long needle in my chest and pushed on my chest and drained almost a 2 liter of blood out of my heart. Of course, now I'm feeling much better. And they say, you know what, this is cancerous. We could tell. So we're going to send it off and have it all checked out. Well, 4 days later, it was my 50th birthday. And my wife brings me a cupcake in the hospital room with a little candle in it. And I blow it out. And then we leave that minute and go into emergency open heart surgery, where they find out that I have stage 4 lung and adenocarcinoma that had metastasized to my pericardium heart sac through blood vessels inside and started bleeding out. So once it started bleeding, it was just filling full of blood every couple of days. And that's what was going to happen to me. I was dying. This cancer is so rare that when I was in this surgery, they didn't know how to save my life. I was dying. So they put a little hole in my heart called a pericardial window. It's about that big, about the size of a dime, in your heart sac, and my chest is open. And they drained all that fluid into my body out of the sac instead of removing it this time. And they packed my heart with powder. to coagulate the blood and just try to save my life. It has singed the pericardium to my heart, where now I don't have fluid in it, and my heart's like a brick. So they informed us after a week about the surgery that the last time they did this, and this is on record in the world, the guy survived 2.7 months, and that's the longest. So I'm now laying there with a 6-month diagnosis of terminal cancer, of lung cancer, to now a 2-month diagnosis of a what's called a pericardial tamponade powder insertion surgery that's now going to limit me to having 2 months to live. So they told me after a few days after I was well enough to maintain that they couldn't do nothing for me, and they said it's time to go home, and they sent me home on palliative care. And he said, you can do a few chemotherapies to try to extend your life, start killing the cancer before it kills you. He goes, but we're sorry, you need to get your affairs in order. Now, if somebody tells you need to get your affairs in order, have you ever tried to contemplate wrapping your mind around that? That means you're going to die. So we was casket shopping, the whole 9 yards. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I started eating. It's a miracle. We called a guy named Mark Pedersen, who always says that cannabis will be the most important discovery of the 21st century, because people don't realize what the government has already studied and found out about this medicine. First of all, 0 people have died from it in the history of mankind. Second of all, when you eat this high THC grease, it has things that happen in your body that no other medicine does. It causes apoptosis, which means it kills tumor cells. It starves them to death. It takes away the way from the mitochondria of every cell in your body to get certain foods. Well, you have what's called programmed tumor cell death in your body. Everything dies for a reason at certain times, or you'd be a big mass of just crap sitting in a chair and just be nasty. So your body tells your body when to do that. When you get cancer, your body doesn't tell it that. Your immune system attacks it. Once it's there, then your body gets acclimated to it. It just starts letting it grow, and it can't have no antibodies to fix it. Your immune system gives up, and that's what cancer does. It grows in you. But high THC cannabis oil was proven by the government about 30 years ago in studies to kill tumors. Well, nobody's ever died from it, and they studied it on rats. Me and my wife knew right then, I'm better than a rat. Well, I might be called a rat by some people, but I'm better than a rat. So, and long story short, they sent us home from the hospital, and I started eating this grease, and was doing a few chemos, and instead of dying, I gained 12 pounds in the first month. I didn't lose any hair. And then I went to go see my doctor, and he kept, he couldn't believe it. I was just looking better every time instead of dying. I mean, this is a miracle right at this point, because, this has not been done for any time. I'm supposed to be dead. And we're just elated that the doctor's making fun of me. You go home and eat your leaves. Well, I wasn't eating cannabis leaves. I was eating grease. And you go home and eat your edibles, smoke your weed. And then finally, we got a call. It was about 6 months after I'd started eating. I ate 120 of these in 129 days. And I got a PET scan, and the doctor called us. It was in the morning, and he said, January 16th, 2016. He said, Darren, I got something to tell you. Because I can't find it. I go, what? My wife said, what? The scans? You called us to give us info. He goes, I can't find no cancer in your body. You are cancer free. Okay. And I got a pericardium full of powder, all messed up now. And I just can't understand. I got the miracle. And since then, we've been helping thousands of people do this. And we're seeing a 70% success rate of either long extended life or remission or cure. It's hard to say cure. You got to be cured 5 years, which mine is just in 6 months. I'll be 5 years cured of terminal cancer. Now, I've had bumps in the road since then, suspicious activity even in my scans, but they won't tell me straight up that I have cancer again. So they're trying to push treatment on you. I have very good insurance. I'm a $250,000 patient to them. So that's basically my story in a gist. I'm a walking miracle, and the only living person on the face of the earth ever survived a pericardial tamponade surgery and still have talcum powder in my heart. So that's kind of what's going on.
Wow.
And I have a condition, but I can live with that because I'm alive.
Yeah, that's amazing, and we're glad you're alive, Darren.
I would hope so. If I was dead, you'd be a very, very mean man.
Darren, there are folks out, so those of us that are sort of in the cannabis industry or have been exposed to it for a while know what FECO is, but there's definitely folks out there who don't know what FECO is. They may have heard of it. They may have heard of it as other things before. Do you want to give us sort of a quick rundown of what FECO is?
Absolutely. We've been able to, in our journeys, we've met so many people and done so much in the last 4 years. I got to actually hook up, and I know Rick Simpson himself, and it's insane. FECO is called full plant extract cannabis oil. And for a cancer patient, this medicine is usually made out of an indica strain or a hybrid higher on that end, because resting quality is very important for your cancer. And when you're resting, you're healing. Believe me, you can stay up all damn day, but when you go to sleep, that's when your body resets and tries to heal the damage you've done while you're awake, inside and in out. So we take the medicines, we sleep a lot. But this medicine is it's easy to make. You make it in your kitchen. And it's a whole plant. Now, I told you it was the full plant extract. Well, they call it Rick Simpson oil from the beginning. And what you're basically doing is taking a plant, you're washing it. Everything off the leaves, all those little hairs and trichomes and terpenes, you're washing it off the plant and then throwing the plant away. Then you have a green liquid of a tincture that you boil down, and whenever it emancipates all the oil or alcohol and boils off, all that's left is the plant matter, which is basically just the THC of the plant. And you were earlier talking about decarboxylation and all the cool stuff about isolates and distillates, and I'm over here biting my tongue and couldn't get in. I'm typing like crazy, saying, I know a little bit about that. But yeah, your chef was right. When you're cooking cannabis into a medicine you want to feel, it's all about heat and time. Mm-hmm. Long amount of time, slow heat will decarboxylate. Fast, hot, real hot heat for a short amount of time can also, but you don't want to burn the cannabinoids. When you take weed and you cook it, you're converting everything in that plant. Those cannabinoids all do a flip, and they all turn to THC. When you smoke it, you put a fire to it, you just caused a decarboxylation immediately, and then you can inhale it and feel it now. When you eat the grease and edibles, it goes down. It's not completely decarboxylated. The medicine isn't. Your liver acts like a small little heater, but it kind of does a chemical thing and changes the rest of the medicine into THC, and that's why you feel the buzz an hour after you eat it versus smoking it immediately. So that's the difference. It's a full plant extract, usually an indica.
And and I think for a lot of folks who maybe hadn't heard of FECO before today, FECO, when you hear of wonderful stories of people saying that that cannabis cured, for instance, cancer, or help get rid of their cancer. FECO, or Rick Simpson oil, but FECO is what those people are referring to. That's not usually that they're smoking it, that they found it, or even ate a normal edible. It's that they're taking this sort of concentrated oil that comes from cannabis. And I know, Darren, I think you had a syringe there, right? That
yes. I'm going to dose right now. I do it. You're supposed to eat 1 gram a day. This is a 1 gram syringe of oil. Okay. You're supposed to eat 1 a day for 60 days. If you have cancer, to eat this, you have to eat little bits. It gets you high as hell because this is about 80 or 90% THC tincture is what it is. So it's very potent. When you eat it in small amounts and you build up a tolerance. Well, a cancer patient needs to get about 60 of these in her body just in a few months to cause that miracle. So what you do is you dose it slow when you start. And if you eat too much, it can scare the hell out of you and make you think you're dying. But you can then again snap your finger and realize there's nothing wrong. You're just extremely high. So no respiratory problems at all, like an opiate or an alcohol. That's why cannabis cannot kill you. When you use it, it functions differently in your brain, not where alcohol and pills are. That puts your diaphragm to sleep to shut your lungs down. You cannot die from cannabis unless somebody hits you with a 100-pound brick of it in the head. That's about the only way. And here's how you take cannabis oil. I'm gonna dose real quickly. You take your pill. Check this out. This is how a cannabis patient takes his medicine. He'll take a pill and he'll fill it up like this. And it's just a regular pill. They're called gel caps. Now I have a medical application of cannabis into a pill. And simply just take this and swallow it and wait for the next 45 minutes to take the ride, because it will do that to you if you overdose on it. So, gentlemen, this is how I've been staying alive for 5 years. This is the only medicine I've taken in 5 years after terminal cancer and stage 3 multiple sclerosis. I was on a walker 5 years ago. Now I can play football, but I'm not near as good as him. Never will.
Well, cheers. And happy 420.
It's medicated.
That's amazing.
And there's a syringe left. See, it takes a whole day to do this. If I was to do this all at once, by the time our podcast was over, my wife would probably be rubbing my back and comforting me, telling me I'm okay, that I'm not going to die from. That's how high it can get.
So what are your? By the way, thank you for sharing your story with us. I know a lot of the audience knows FECO, and some of the folks out there know your story, but there's a lot of folks that don't. And I think your story is just really valuable to a lot of folks because there's definitely there's a lot of folks out there that have found huge success and health benefits in taking FECO. And so, cannabis is now legal in so many states, especially medicinally, and there's no denying these days that cannabis can have a lot of wonderful health benefits, and certainly FECO is right at the top of that list, and just in terms of being able to derive health benefits from cannabis. So it's amazing. It's amazing that you're willing to share your story, because I think it's one thing for folks to read stuff, but it's another thing to really hear real life stories from real people. And I don't know. I mean, everyone has to find what's right for them, but there's just so many people that have had like amazing, wondrous, almost miracle-like results from FECO, and so it's certainly something that folks should if they need to find out more about it, and Darren, I guess that's so. I know you were saying that you help out people with FECO, so if there's probably folks out there right now in the audience who either feel like they could be in a position where they should be taking FECO, or that they have loved ones that they'd like to find out more about it, or what's the right way for people to go about that?
Okay. You are, it's legal in my state, Illinois, recreationally and medically. If you have a dispensary near you, you need to go to a dispensary and ask for this medicine. Now, it's specific, very specific. If you have cancer, you do not, because it's no guarantee, like no other medicine. Why is there 18, 20 different kinds of insulin? Because everybody can't take the same medicine. It doesn't work for everybody, especially one that is unstudied as cannabis. But if you need this medicine, the best way to get it, I'm going to follow Rick Simpson's deal in this, is to get a handful of cannabis, a little bit of alcohol, follow a small video like making a small souffle in your house and produce it. It's not hard to do. But the everyday layman, just go to a dispensary and ask for the proper thing. You're looking for an indica strain of cannabis oil that is over 55% in its THC value, because over 55% is where you start getting that tumor cell death, that clinical apoptosis that I was talking about. I know that's a couple of clinical names, but that's fact of what it does to your body. So if you need cannabis oil, you can reach out to the cannabis community, because it does take a pound of marijuana, a whole pound, to make 60 of these grams. So selling cannabis by the little baggie and by the grammage at dispensaries is where they make all their money. They're not going to make a lot of money making this, because they will lose money making it. But you can make it in your kitchen and grow your own plants, and that's probably the best way to do it. If you can't do that, you go to a dispensary, and anybody can jump on a plane if you're sick and fly to a place like Vegas. We work with Planet 13, the world's biggest dispensary, and they work with veterans out there and how to get their hands on this medicine. Regardless, they'll go off kilter and talk to them either privately or maybe guide you to us, and we do whatever we have to do to help people. But it's sad. Cannabis is still about the money. Nothing is free. Somebody has to pay for the medicine, grow it, make it, do something, and that's where it's really sad. If it was just released, it would be so abundant that it'd be easy for anybody just to make it in their home. But not everybody can grow a pound of marijuana in their home, and that's a problem. So we're working on that, right, Eric? That's why we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and to get this bad boy right here,
trying to change the perception of it.
You guys, I wanted to introduce you to my daughter. I'm a new granddaughter, but she's not here. She's in Texas, and I'm in Illinois. So here's my other granddaughter. I want to introduce you. Right here.
That's beautiful.
I ain't even named her yet. She ain't born yet, but look at this. This thing is, look at that. It's just crazy.
And you might have mentioned it. I'm sorry if I missed it, but what strain is that? What do you got there?
This one here is called a critical purple. It's an autoflower seed. I never grew cannabis in my life till my first harvest a few months ago. Had a whole tit full of weed. It's all stuck in these nets and buds everywhere, and it's craziness. And then I figured out they got this new kind where it grows in just a few months, grows huge, and like it's about 2 foot high and doesn't take over everything. It's called an autoflower. It's a ruderalis Russian plant that's hybrided with plants from other places in the world that it grows differently. So very exciting stuff nowadays.
Well, and certainly for especially with folks sort of being asked to stay at home and to sort of isolate themselves, it actually gives a lot of folks, where it's legal to start a cultivation in their own home, right?
Oh, yes, well, if you're dying, it's life versus law, my friend. That's what we had. When we first got sick, it was only legal in California as medical, and I believe recreational at that point in Colorado, and that was it. It's 5 years ago. So we jumped in a car the day I got out of the hospital and drove from St. Louis to California. It took me 3 days to get there. I was so sick. I was bleeding out of blisters and cracks in my hands and feet. I had open wounds in my chest that were just dripping that that cancer fluid out of my body because they drained it into my body instead of removing it the second time. And I started eating this medicine, and I swear, within days, the holes in my body that they had tubes in started drying up. I started immediately, my hands and feet were cracking for months before I had cancer because it was a symptom I never noticed. It was drying up in a week. So this is a miracle medicine for some people. And me and my wife, we help anybody get their hands on this. But like I said, it's still a problem of price because I can't access a pound of weed every time somebody calls me. And at the dispensary, here's what's sad, gentlemen. They're selling cannabis usually for $20 a gram, $18 a gram. You add that up, that puts an eighth of an ounce at about $60, a quarter at $120, a pound at almost $8,000 a pound. You cannot make medicine with $8,000 pounds of weed. So that's a big problem, access for people, and that's our problem. But we can help anybody just through our Facebook and bear with us. We jump in a car and drive across the country to comfort and help people. That's what we do. We're self-sufficient because we're a 501c3. We don't have to do a lot of overhead. And if we just make it as we need it for each individual person, but we can't supply for everybody. If you bring me plant, I got a lab. There's my machine right behind me that makes this medicine. I bought a machine, and we can make anybody's medicine right here in my basement. Just bring me your plant. I'll show you how to make it. I got an alcohol recovery system. It's an Eto Pro machine that cooks it into grease and recovers all the liquid you usually would lose while you're cooking this. You just recover it. So half your price is gone right away. You're not buying gallons and gallons of Everclear alcohol, ethanol, to make the product. So, as we advance, it'll get better.
Darren, and can people also cook with FECO, or is it usually in pill form?
This is what your chef uses. He's taking a distillate is like an isolate. They're different. Isolate means they've cooked it and isolated the THC completely out, and you can use that in a vape cart or you can smoke it. This you can put right on a spliff or on a cigarette or in a pipe. It's liquid grease, and you can fire it right up. It is 90% THC. But also, you drip a little bit into your food and stir it in, and that's what he's using to cook with. It is basically a FECO or an RSO oil on a cleaner level because this is just all plant matter. It's the full plant. He's going to use a distillate, which is going to be, the separated THC, and it's not completely decarboxylized, like he had mentioned. The part that comes in when you eat it, your body does some of that. But yes, this is exactly what you use to make food. You can squirt this in a batch of cookies, and it will get probably 6 to 10 people high without knowing it. So, I've never done that, but Lord forbid you get somebody on this that don't know they're on it. It'll scare them to death because it's real medicine.
So, and by the way, I wouldn't necessarily encourage anyone to go out and like sort of secretly dose your friends with anything. But Darren, I've been waiting for most of my life for somebody to do. I've been waiting for somebody to do that to me. I've been waiting for me to be like, "Oh, I'm feeling a little strange," and then finally somebody's like, "Yeah, I gave you a couple of cookies," or I don't, and maybe that says a lot about me. I don't know, but
watch out, you're with Eric. You're with Eric. Watch out. Would you be giving one of them date rape drugs you're carrying around with you? No, weed and cannabis can actually be very, very potent if taken certain ways. Years ago, I've smoked, when I was real young, I'd smoke, and I get paranoid and all that stuff. It don't happen no more. Eat this. You'll relive it really quickly, but your body does get used to it. And now if you have beaten cancer or don't want it, why wouldn't you just eat a little bitty bit every day to fill your body with cannabinoids to maybe do that, that effect where you might never get cancer as a deterrent? That's possible. We don't know. It ain't studied yet, but that's what I'm hoping on.
Well, and Darren, you can give me your opinion on this. So I know a lot of people. The main use of FECO or the purpose of FECO for folks is to heal, right? And so, but when my father was in hospice and during the sort of like last moments, he was struggling with the amount of, they weren't giving him enough morphine. They were giving him a huge amount, but not enough. And so I ended up using FECO. I actually ended up using probably a full syringe worth to sort of help him in his final moments.
You find it helpful?
It was the only thing he would not have passed. He would have continued to struggle But it was actually, it was
exactly what you're talking about cancer. My mom the same way. Your dad had cancer, and the morphine destroying the liver, this or that. But people need to understand one thing about cannabis as a pain medicine. It is a pain medicine, but here's how it works. It ain't too hard to explain. When you are very, very high, you have made some physiological change to your body, and you're not completely taking away your pain. Your brain's just accepting those synapses differently. If it's indica, it's firing a little slower, and you're not getting those pain signals as fast. So anybody feels better usually if they like the feel of cannabis when they're on it. So as what FECO does, it does interrupt the system and stop synapses, but it slows down the pain synapses, which makes you handle pain differently. And it's a miracle drug for people getting off of opioids and all kinds of things in that same direction, because it will change you into somebody who has to have it once you start eating it, because you feel better when you realize you're on this medicine. Even when you're not high on it, you say, I guess I'm reaching some type of homeostasis. It's these words. That's what it does.
Well, and even for Eric, as a football player, a lot of Eric's talked about this on the air before. A lot of football players use cannabis for sort of like day-to-day pain management and also just for healing stuff. And even Eric used it for training. But even, for instance, when he got a concussion that was, the concussion that caused him to retire from the NFL, he used cannabis in the recovery post NFL because those concussive symptoms were so severe and often. And so interestingly, my son had gotten a really bad concussion some time ago, and he was being given and prescribed a bunch of opioids. And so I talked to him about that. He doesn't live with me, so when I talked with him, I was about to go down and visit him, and I said, "So how are you feeling?" And he's like, "Well, these pills that they give me make me feel really dopey, but it all still hurts." And so, I as a parent decided to bring him some edibles, and so it was a real teaching moment because I had to teach my child about edibles and sort of how to use them. But here was the really interesting thing, Darren. So I had a big bag of gummies, right? And so, day one, I tell him what it is, and I say, okay, now go over and grab yourself a gummy out of the bag. And so he goes and he takes a gummy and he eats it. And at the end of the day, I check in with him and I say, so how are you feeling? And he says, I felt really good. He's like, it actually was the first thing since I've hurt myself that actually helped my concussive symptoms. He didn't have a headache. He didn't have auditory sensitivity, smell sensitivity, light sensitivity. We found it a success. Day 2, he and I are going to go see the Star Wars movie, and I say, oh gosh, well, hey, you got to, and he actually says, hey, is it okay if I go get a gummy out of the bag? And I said, yes, in fact, why don't you take 2? And so, I knew, by the way, day 1 that it had worked for him, but I didn't have a huge amount of time. I needed to teach him this quickly. So day 2, I said, why don't you take 2 of them? And then we went to the Star Wars movie, and he promptly fell asleep in the middle of the Star Wars movie and wanted a nap all day. And at the end of the day, I said, how did you feel? And he said, I felt great, but it made me fall asleep. And I said, when you take too much cannabis, what happens? And he says, I fell asleep. And I said, if you take too many opioids, what happens? And he says, I might die, right? And so finally, and I'll just sort of wrap the story up, because this is, to me, was the best part about this story, was that day 3, he came to me in the morning and said, Dad, can I go grab a gummy out of the bag? And I said, of course, because really at that point they're his, but I just haven't handed them to him. And he walks over. This was amazing, Darren. He walked over to the bag. He pulls a gummy out. He's looking at it. He turns and looks at me and he says, Dad, is it okay if I take a half a gummy? And I'm like, hallelujah. Like, oh my God, my kid just learned responsible consumption of cannabis as a medicine. Like, because I'm gonna have to leave him, he's gonna have to self-medicate, and he just figured out, like, because he wanted to be functional, he wanted the healing properties, he realized how it could help him, but he also wanted to still be like alert and not be sleepy and still be able to like get through his day. And he realized after only 3 days that a half a gummy was like the dosage, without even him knowing like his number. He realized that a half a gummy out of what I had given him was like the right thing for him.
Yeah, it's tailored to every single person differently. Everybody's going to be different. And with him doing that, stepping down from a medication in front of you instead of asking for one more pill, what a cool